Today is Monday, December 16th. We'll tell you about new efforts to get to the bottom of mysterious drone sightings, now becoming even more common on the East Coast. Also, a new showdown over abortion pills being sold across state lines. Plus, why some of America's biggest tech companies are investing in President-elect Trump's inauguration, where Americans are seeing snow, ice, and rain, and who should get a holiday tip and how much. One survey has some answers. Those stories and more news to know next. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. A recent surge in drones is starting to get more attention from the federal government. Drones have been spotted in New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Virginia, and beyond. They are most often seen at night, and at times they've been spotted over critical infrastructure. But the U.S. still isn't sure who is sending them and why. So over the weekend, Homeland Security said it put more resources on it, including new technology and personnel. New York's governor got more specific, saying the federal government is deploying a new drone detection system in her state. It comes after one airport in New York had to close its runways for about an hour because of reported drone activity. Separately, 2 people were arrested for flying a drone near Boston's Logan Airport without authorization over the weekend. Meanwhile, the FBI is repeating what it's been saying all along, that there's no evidence of any kind of national security or public safety threat. But some lawmakers have accused the Biden administration of a cover-up, saying the White House does know what's going on and isn't telling the public. President-elect Trump chimed in, writing on social media, "Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so." Others say there are many other explanations, especially since nearly 800,000 drones are registered with the FAA for different purposes. And some of the sightings may have just been airplanes. So, to be continued. There's an uncertain future for one of America's top allies in East Asia. South Korean lawmakers voted to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol. And with that, his presidential powers were suspended. In response, hundreds of thousands of South Koreans celebrated in the streets over the weekend. Now, the Constitutional Court has up to 6 months to decide whether to reinstate Yoon or remove him for good. It's meeting for the first time today. Of course, this is due to Yoon's short-lived attempt to impose martial law, after which several senior defense and military officials either resigned or were arrested. But Yoon is promising to fight for his political future. In the meantime, South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo has become acting president. Han spoke with President Biden and other allies yesterday, as many have raised concerns about North Korea looking to take advantage of instability in the South. As for the U.S., the White House says the alliance is still strong. In just 1 week, 2 influential members of Congress have been sidelined by injuries. The latest is former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. The 84-year-old Congresswoman tripped and fell at an event with other members of Congress in Luxembourg and ended up breaking her hip. Pelosi had to be airlifted to a U.S. military hospital in Germany, and her office says she had hip replacement surgery on Saturday, so now she's recovering. This comes just a few days after another longtime leader, 82-year-old Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, had a scare of his own. He fell as he was leaving a Senate Republican lunch. McConnell also had to be seen by doctors, but has since been cleared to resume his schedule as usual. A first-of-its-kind lawsuit is pitting one state against another over their very different abortion laws. Texas is suing a New York doctor, accusing her of prescribing a woman abortion pills by telemedicine and then mailing them to her Texas address. The woman apparently took the medication at 9 weeks pregnant and terminated her pregnancy. But Texas has a near-total abortion ban. So the state's attorney general says the New York doctor owes $100,000 for this case and any other time she's violated the ban. Here's the thing, though. The doctor didn't do anything illegal based on the laws in her home state. In fact, New York has a shield law that specifically protects doctors from out-of-state investigations and prosecutions like this. So legal experts are divided on where the courts may land on this issue. Even if New York courts won't let Texas penalize the doctor, she could end up facing risks anytime she leaves New York. As the Texas Tribune explains it, this case involves state versus state legal questions that have not been meaningfully addressed since the Civil War. And it could set the precedent for how doctors operate on a state-to-state basis in the future. Millions of people on the East Coast are getting another round of rain and snow. For the interior parts of the Northeast, like upstate New York and Pennsylvania, it's snow. For people closer to the coast, it's a lot of rain. Either way, it's coming from the same system that brought a major ice storm to parts of the Midwest over the weekend. Roads were especially dangerous from Iowa into Nebraska. While on the other side of the country, a first-ever tornado warning was issued for San Francisco County, California, on Saturday. A tornado actually touched down about 70 miles south of the city of San Francisco, and several people were hurt. Elsewhere in the West, parts of Lake Tahoe got more than a foot of snow, and hurricane-force winds were recorded near Yosemite National Park. More news is still ahead, but first, this episode is brought to you by ZocDoc. Along with the holiday cheer, this time of year often comes with more sicknesses than usual, especially if you're a parent of young kids. And it's just not that fun to deal with. So make it a little easier on yourself to find the doctor you need when you need them with a healthcare app that can filter doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, and are the right fit for whatever it is you need. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, choose the right one for your needs, and click to instantly book an appointment. We're talking about in-network appointments with more than 100,000 healthcare providers across every specialty, from mental health to dental health, eye care to skin care, and much more. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. I check ZocDoc anytime I'm looking for a new doctor to support my most valuable asset, my health and my family's health. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Now back to the news. Today marks exactly 80 years since the famous Battle of the Bulge. It was a crucial World War II battle that was also the largest and bloodiest battle the U.S. Army ever fought, with more than 80,000 troops killed, wounded, or missing. Events commemorating the month-long fight were held over the weekend. Some of the last living American World War II veterans met with world leaders and looked back on how they and other Allied troops braved sub-freezing temperatures to stop the final Nazi offensive. Many of them spoke about the soldiers who died in battle, asking that their sacrifices not be forgotten. More events to commemorate the Battle of the Bulge are scheduled for this week. For example, veterans and representatives from each of the Allied nations involved in the battle will be on hand for a ceremony at the National World War II Memorial today. ABC News is giving $15 million to Trump's presidential foundation. It's part of a legal settlement since Trump sued the network for defamation. It all started when anchor George Stephanopoulos said on air that Trump was liable for rape. He was referring to the civil case out of New York, where advice columnist E. Jean Carroll did accuse Trump of raping her and then lying about it. In the end, though, the verdict did not say Trump raped Carroll under the New York law definition. Instead, he was found liable of sexual abuse. So, Trump's lawyers accused Stephanopoulos of having a reckless disregard for the truth. And this case was set to advance this week, with both Trump and Stephanopoulos needing to sit for separate depositions. Well, now that it's settled, they won't have to. The money in the settlement will go toward Trump's presidential library, and another $1 million will pay for Trump's legal fees. As part of the settlement, ABC News also posted an editor's note to its website saying it regretted Stephanopoulos' statements. As President-elect Trump prepares for his inauguration next month, several prominent tech companies are helping to make it happen. Amazon and Meta each gave $1 million to Trump's inaugural fund, and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said he would write a $1 million personal check. Many tech leaders have also met personally with Trump since his win in November, including Apple CEO Tim Cook and Google co-founder Sergey Brin. And as you know, Tesla, SpaceX, and X CEO Elon Musk has been working even more closely with Trump, spending more than $250 million to help the president-elect win, even accepting a job leading the new Department of Government Efficiency. Tech industry observers say in some cases the donations are a sign of how eager tech companies are to work with the incoming president. For others, it's seen as a way to patch up a relationship, since Trump has accused tech giants of things like censorship. And then there's some who believe they can sway Trump toward less regulation and other tech-friendly moves. Though this isn't really anything new, CBS News cites a source at Google who says the tech giant donated nearly $300,000 to President Biden's inaugural fund 4 years ago. Lord & Taylor is making a comeback as an online-only store. You may remember America's oldest department store chain shut down all of its brick-and-mortar stores in 2021 during the pandemic. Though it hadn't been doing so well before then, its flagship store on New York City's Fifth Avenue closed back in 2019. Then Regal Brands Global bought the rights to Lord & Taylor's intellectual property back in September. And now the new owner says it will relaunch Lord & Taylor with its iconic cursive logo in 2025. The new e-commerce version of the store will focus on selling discount luxury goods and Lord & Taylor branded products. Eventually, Regal Brands hopes to bring Lord & Taylor back as an in-person shopping experience as well. It just hasn't decided exactly what that's going to look like yet. There's a new best player in college football. The Heisman Trophy was handed out over the weekend after what was the closest vote in 15 years. Colorado's Travis Hunter took home the trophy. Hunter plays both offense and defense for Colorado, and most scouts expect him to be one of the top picks in April's NFL draft. He's the first Colorado player to win the Heisman since 1994 and the first defensive player to win since 1997. But the award nearly went to Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty, who had one of the best seasons for a running back in history. In the end, Jeanty got 309 first-place votes to Hunter's 552. It was the closest margin of victory since 2009. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, thanks to our sponsor, Trade Coffee. Want to give the gift your family or friend will be talking about all year long? A Trade subscription is not just coffee. It is an experience that keeps on giving. Every month, your gift recipient will get a new freshly roasted coffee perfectly matched to their taste from one of the top small batch roasters in the U.S. I've enjoyed coffee from Sterling Coffee Roasters, Bird Rock Coffee Roasters, Dune Coffee Roasters, and more. It's like getting your loved one a tour of the country's best coffee shops without leaving home. I can tell you from my experience that it is such a fun process to receive the coffee in the mail each month, and the coffee itself is super fresh and high quality. I personally love trying all different kinds. So are you ready to cross that last gift off your list? Trade is offering their best savings of the year on gift subscriptions right now. So head to drinktrade.com/newsworthy to send a personalized coffee subscription in minutes. Again, go to drinktrade.com/newsworthy while Trade is offering their best savings of the year on gift subscriptions. Okay, now back to Money Monday. So one holiday tradition that's sticking around, tipping. Americans are planning to leave extra money for service workers, including teachers, mail carriers, house cleaners, trash collectors, and anyone else who helps year-round. In fact, a new survey from the financial website Bankrate says more Americans are actually planning on tipping this year than in years past. And that's true even though other surveys say Americans have gotten fed up with tipping culture as a whole. The same survey also found younger people, like Gen Zers, are more frequent and generous holiday tippers than people from older generations, even though they generally have less money. So how much are they tipping exactly? Well, Bankrate listed the most common responses: $50 for teachers, $20 for trash collectors, and $25 for delivery drivers, though keep in mind U.S. postal workers are not allowed to accept cash. Etiquette expert Emily Post's great-great-granddaughter also has some advice. She says even if you can't afford to give everyone on your list a cash gift, consider making special cookies or candy to show your appreciation. We have a link to her full tipping guide listed in today's episode notes. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll be back with even more news to know tomorrow. So be sure to hit that follow button in your favorite podcast app if you haven't already, so you get new episodes easily and stay in the know. For now, have a great day.